Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our Coghlans Camp Heat. So this canister is 6.4 ounces, and you do get a set of 2, which is good because you do get a burn time of about 4 hours per canister, which isn't that much if you're planning on doing a lot of cooking. But if you're just using this for emergencies, especially with the Coghlans folding stove, which we have here, it's gonna work out just to heat something up real quick for when you need to eat it. This does come sealed with this cap over here, and this is gonna be a threaded cap, so you just rotate it to open it. Now, since this is liquid fuel, just be careful about handling it, and especially when you open the cap, try to make sure none of that liquid gets onto your hands. So this is going to be your factory wick, this is what you're gonna get once you receive the canister. Now, if you need more flame, you may need to spread this wick out or raise it higher. That will increase your heat output. It will burn up your fuel a bit faster, of course, but you do get some adjustability. Make sure to do this before you light it though, and not while it's on fire. And once you're done with it, even if it is burning, you extinguish it by just putting this cap on top of it. That will extinguish the flame, and then when you're ready to store it, just screw that cap right over it, make sure it's tight, and then you can store it. So we're gonna try this Camp Heat canister out. So I'll just unscrew this cap. We have our wick. You can also use a match, or in my case, I'm going to use a lighter just because it's quicker and easier that way. And then we'll light this. Once it's lit, you will not see a visible flame, but you will feel some heat. So it's been about 5 seconds. We're just gonna lift this up and slide it into our stove. This is mainly odorless and non-toxic. You can see a slight flame as it is in the stove. Even in our windy day, we still have some heat output on it, which will increase especially once you have your grill, your skillet, your pan like we have here. Once I put it on top of it, it'll start to heat up. And since it is odorless and non-toxic fumes, you can technically use this indoors according to Coghlans, but again, I recommend using this in a well-ventilated area. So I just put this pan on top, and I'll start a timer just to see how long it takes to heat our pan up. So it's been 2.5 minutes. I do feel the stove heat up. Not that you can't touch it, it's not that hot, but it's definitely warm. As for our pan, it is on the warmer side, but not yet enough where we can cook an egg, so let's wait a little bit longer. It's nice to see that even though it's really windy out here, I can still feel the pan heat up. With the way our stove is designed to enclose our fuel canister, even with the pan out of the way, our fuel is still burning, so that's nice to see, because then I want to make sure it works in whatever situation I'm in. So it's been 7.5 minutes, and I realized that maybe our household pan is a little too thick for this application. It is nice to see that the heat output is really strong right over here, and the stove itself is warming up, but our pan not as much. I do recommend using this with camping pans that are a little bit thinner, especially ones from Coghlans or GSI Outdoors. They have some great options for you, and from my experience, they heat up a lot faster than a household pan like mine would. Now it's been 10 minutes and our pan is hot now, so I think we're ready to crack this egg on it and see how well it cooks. So we're at 650 feet of altitude, and it is taking a while for our egg to start cooking. I know someone who was at around 1,100 feet of altitude, and it took 30 minutes for him to get a boil, while someone at 5,000 feet of altitude only took 10 minutes to get a roiling boil. So depending on your situation or where you are will help you decide on what kind of stove you need or will work for you. So with our egg right here, it has been about 15 minutes and our egg hasn't fried or cooked. So again, depending on where you are and what your weather condition is, this may or may not happen. So my final thoughts about the Camp Heat canister from Coghlans is that it's definitely a canister designed for emergency purposes. If you have the camping gear that's necessary to be used with this, let's say those pans from GSI Outdoors or from Coghlans, those work really well with this type of a setup. This may work out well for you. It does have a pretty good heat output, and even in the wind, it's still producing heat, and I am impressed by that. But I am not as impressed by the minimal amount of heat it does produce, even when the wind dies down. So I wouldn't expect too much of it if you're going to be making a lot of food or you're planning on making a big feast. But if you want something just to give you some peace of mind for emergency purposes, maybe add this to your hiking pack. And that was a look here at our Coghlans Camp Heat here at eTrailer. My name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed the journey.